Alright, shalom, shalom. Alright, first and foremost, I'd like to begin by giving all praises, all honor and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash. Alright, double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and shalom to all you brothers around the four corners of the earth, that teaching us good gospel in all sincerity and in all truth. Alright, shalom. This is brother Jeremiah here, back with another video. Alright, and in this lesson, we're just going to be touching on, it was in my spirit, that we touch on, the scripture that came to mind, right, while I was just, playing a little ball, right, getting you exercising, and the scripture came to my mind: a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, right? I'm going to pull up the word desire, and I'm supposed to get it in the, is second Esdras. I'm supposed to get it there, right? Because hey, we're coming into some serious times, right? Coming into some serious times, right? That is a true saying right now. Because hey, the brother Nakami are probably doing a video on it right now as well. What happened in the world. Russia, I think that was against Ukraine. I didn't read too much of the subtitles or the caption, right? But had a kind of, anyway, that could be for a future lesson as well too, right? But serious wars going on, and the banana camera is gonna spark up someone that Russia was using a kind of machine with a hat and they're shooting it. And the first thing that came to mind was Call of Duty, right? Because in Call of Duty, I see that as well too, the game, right? Where go have a kind of small kind of device, and they go press some and it go shoot straight at a person or something. Right, but that is not doing that. Them have it, the Russian them, and they have it shooting straight up at a flying plane, and that thing literally going direct, and boom, it's like a bomb, but a bomb that could fly and go directly on point with the kind of technology and machines I have. And that could be for a future lesson. Cause what are you gonna do about that? How are you gonna stop that? Right? But in this lesson, as I say, I wanted to touch on a man shall desire, or to go into a city. And all this gonna lead into what? Jacob's trouble, right? And have a lesson prepared for that as well too, to touch on something what a woman said in Elder Amon Gaba. He did a video on it, a short video on Jacob's trouble, and what she had a brilliant, a beautiful yappa dream. And what she was saying is only fact she spoke, right? The dream, right? She shared her testimony of her dream, and what she said after that as well too is facts. Right, and I will do a lesson on that, because that was something, that was yappa. Right, but there's another one, desire to hear another man's voice. Right? Yeah, that is it. Because when it's Jacob's trouble, right, I must see if I got the scripture. Right? Alright. Yeah, yappa, 2 Esdras 15 and verse 14, I'll start at. It says, woe to the world and to them. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draw nigh. One people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that is going to be in the time of Jacob's trouble. Right? Because it's gonna be a serious time that, they're going to be, as the scripture, let me read the next verse. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. What are they invading one another for? For the want of bread. So they'll be fighting and killing one another. To what? Cannibalism as well gonna be going on in Jacob's trouble. They're gonna be eating people, cooking them, right, and eating them, right? That was scripture talks about that in Lamentations 3. I think it's Lamentations 3 and 10, right? And that is what is coming. They're gonna eat their own flesh as well too. It's gonna be a serious time. No food. Can remember the scripture saying, my servant shall eat. The Lord is gonna take care of his servants in that time. So that's why the scripture says, my servant shall eat, my servant shall drink, but they shall be hungry, right? And they shall be thirsty. But the Lord will take care of his servants. The Lord has us, right? Right? The Lord have us in that time. The Lord will have us in that time. Right? We have to believe that is where the faith comes in as well too. To have faith in the Lord. That the Lord will lift up that standard. Right? So this is what is coming as well too. They're going to be invading one another. Alright, and it says, They shall not regard their kings nor their princes, right? And the cause of their actions shall stand in their power. Because what they're not going to care about that, they're not going to care about the government, right? What the governments have and the police, and they're not going to have none of that in that time. They don't even care about them. It gonna be order up kill. Right, that's what it's gonna be, because Alamon Gaba was touching on that in one of his last lessons I listened to yesterday. Right? It's gonna be order up kill, it's gonna be chaos. Right? All about, right? Chaos, Jacob's trouble. Right? And hey, it would have been a yappa, it would have been very yappa if I had that clip now, because basically we touching on Jacob's trouble as well too. Right? But I'm gonna swing back, the whole lesson is gonna swing back into a different point, and you'll see where I'm gonna go with this, because the reason why I said, you know, man, but when I reach to that scripture, I'll think it, right? So they're not gonna regard their princes or their kings, the governments and the rulers. They ain't gonna regard them, they ain't gonna care about them. They're just gonna do what they want, because it's gonna be chaos, right? Lights, it might not have no current, lights go be out, right? Lights will be out, there will be total darkness, so it's gonna be chaos. And Elaman Gaba said that as well too. He said he believed that if just saying that if like shit is happen now and current and on the power cuts off tomorrow, and for 2 days, he said none really happened for 2 days, but he said after a week it's gonna be straight out chaos, straight chaos, right? And right now outside sitting on a bench here, taking in the lovely sky, you know, as I said, the clouds going, and I seen a cloud and looking just like a chariot, right? Literally like a chariot, cause you know them, the chariots and them just cloak themselves in the clouds and looking literally like a chariot, right? Beautiful. Right? Right? So verse 17 it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. And shall not be able, right? And if men is gonna, as I said, for a man shall desire to go into a city, it's not gonna have no planes flying in, flying out. It's not gonna have none of that. You can't go by boats and none of them things. It's gonna be straight out chaos. Jacob's trouble we talking about, right? You're not gonna be able to fly and go to another country if you think you could do that when shit started hit the fan over here. No, right? Not gonna have none of that, right? Them places, them airports, and them gonna be abandoned, right? And if you watch movies, right, you'll see these things happen. If it's whether it be a zombie apocalypse, everything abandoned. Whether it be the lights gone, some places have light, some places don't have light, right? The movies and them have it all like that right now. Right? I've seen movies like that. And with the airport, you go have just people. You go just see the remains, bags, clothes, and shelters where people would have been staying in, or you know, these kind of different things, right? But it's gonna be straight out chaos in that time. Remember, it's Jacob's trouble, a time like never before, right? So a man is gonna be able to a man shall desire to go into another city and shall not be able. And just like how a man is gonna desire to go into another city and not be able, he's gonna desire to hear another man's voice as well too. You're not gonna hear that, and here's the pail wagon and tie it back around now, right? You'll see it, right? Cause it keep in my head, right? Second Esdras 16 now, and verse 27 says, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice, right? And there's gonna be in the time of Jacob's trouble as well too, right? Because you're gonna desire to see this brother or see that brother, because in Jacob's trouble, we don't know how it's gonna be. We don't know if you're gonna be rolling with the whole team, with all the brothers. In Jacob's trouble, they don't know that, because the scripture talks about woe unto him that is alone, and that scripture will be fulfilled. Woe unto him that is alone. You don't want to be alone in that time, right? And whether you be alone in that time for a period of time, right, for a little time you're on the run and you maybe get separated from the brothers through some chaos, right? And the Lord will direct you back to them, right? You never know, the standard could raise. You see now, that is why we're not supposed to fear. Even if we on the run and we get separated from the Akim, right? And let me say the I don't know, the enemy come and I don't know, find you or upon you, right? The Lord is gonna lift that standard and you could, fight against them with that spiritual power, and then you can meet back the rest of the Akim and then say, wow, I keep flying, and you could be a way of defense, basically, through the spirit and power of your how about the Lord is gonna lift that standard, right? Wow, these scriptures is going to be fulfilled. The Lord lifting the standard, Jacob's trouble, the enemy coming in like a flood, then the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against them. Hey, we're going to be able to see that and witness that, right? And this is the first time forever, this is the first time in history we're going to get to see something like this, so this is going to happen. And this is going to be the last time as well, too. Right? Jacob's trouble, the Lord lifting that standard in that time as well too, because the Lord lift up the Lord lift up standards, for us against, our enemies, right? Like back in the time in Egypt, right? When the cloud by it was the cloud by day and the pillar by night, but that was a chariot that was guiding us and protecting us in that time in Egypt, so that we'll get light, in night, right? And we'll get, guide or not guide, we'll get shelter in the day as well too. That was a chariot, and that would be that would be beautiful to see it in that time, right? But hey, one thing I know for sure is that once we make it a part of the Lord's elect in this time around here, hey, we're gonna be able to get to see back all them things, right? We're gonna get to see it back, right? We're gonna be able to know everything, right? That is beautiful, right? We're gonna get spiritual power, right? That's just it. Once you make it a part of the Lord's elect, remember it's a new body, right? That whole different, realm, right? Them celestial bodies, right? Not terrestrial. Terrestrial is on this earth here, but celestial, I think I seen you would like, right? Celestial, right, is up in different realms in the heavens, some new bodies, right? But the Lord lifted that standard for us in that time in Egypt as well, when even Pharaoh came against us. That was the chariot of the Lord. Our defense was our defense, right? That is beautiful. So the Lord has always lifted up that standard for his people, no matter what, right? But it's going to be a different kind of standard. It's going to be raising up in this time around here now. First and last, standard that is going to be lift, forward for the Lord's elect, right? First and the last one. Well, the last one, I could just say like that, the last one, right? But here the tie around now. So, hey, there's the message, hey, you have time with you have time, and you could line with the Akim, right? Or you could take a drink with a brother, or just, hey, spend time with the brethren, right? Because you never know what's your lot in them days, whether you be here, as I say, maybe rolling alone, and then the Lord will lead you up to the Akims, maybe a little before the Jacob trouble, stop, or we don't know how it's gonna be, right? We just pray and hope that we'll have faith in the Lord in that time, so that, hey, spend the time with the brothers, right? Spend the time with your Akim, right? Let brotherly love continue, right? Psalms, I think, is 133, right? And 1. I'll read that real quick, because here the tie around now in Jacob's trouble. This scripture is going to be fulfilled. They're going to desire to hear another man's voice. And you're not going to be able to. So like us, we going to desire to hear El Apostle Taha's voice in that time. Or El Apostle Gabar's voice. Remember listening to his videos. Right? We going to desire this, and we're not going to be able to hear it. The only way we could hear them voice again is if the Lord lift that standard over there for them, and the Lord bring them quite over here for us, and the guide us and protect us, because, hey, wow, we gonna desire to hear another man's voice and not gonna be able to. It's not gonna have no internet. The internet is gonna crash, right? All of that is gonna crash, right? We're not gonna have no internet, so you can look it up or watch no videos or ask ChatGPT or none like that. It's gonna be a serious time. So hey, right? If you have time, spend time with the brothers, spend time with the Akim. Let brother love continue. Right? Psalms 133 and 1, it says, behold how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It's a beautiful things, right? And just like when we gather together, right, in unity, the Spirit of the Lord is in the midst as well too. Because the scripture say, where two or three are gathered in the midst, or gathered in my name, I'm in the midst. So the Lord is always there with us. Right? Spend time with the brothers. Right? Because hey, when it's Jacob's trouble, that could go for us in this time as well too. You got me? You never know. You could be on the run with your family alone, just you and your family. And then you make up with the Akim in the late half. You can say, hey boy, this act boy, could desire to hear this act voice. You can desire to hear another man's voice in that time. Right? This act who used to live quite, I may be north and he may be south. Or he may be I south and he east. Right? You can desire to hear another man's voice and you're not gonna be able to. So what? Hey, spend time with the brothers. If you could, spend time with the brothers. Right? We coming into some serious times where, hey, the sad reality, the sad truth is you're not gonna see some brothers. Right? Not because not all of us is gonna be in that time. I don't think it's gonna play off like that. Right? Where all of us is gonna just be together and we on the run. The Lord could let that happen in the later half. Right? But hey, we never know how it's gonna be. It could be on the run with you and your family. And you gotta be the one. Remember using man, so you gotta lead them to the Spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yeshai. So that's gonna be a serious time. So if you could spend time with the Akim, spend time with the Akim, right? That's a beautiful thing. Because in that time you will miss that brother. You say, wait, I wish I could have been that brother right now. On the run would have been totally better, you know, sip some yarn with this brother. I remember them near part times and hey, this happens to me a lot. Right? Because hey, it have a time and a season, that's the next thing. It have a time and a season for everything under the sun, so what? Right? So what? If it have a time and a season for everything under the sun, it have a time you're going to be real spending time with the Akim, and it have a time where you're not spending much as time you want to spend with the Akim, you know, and hey, so it does go. Time and a season for everything under the sun, so you can desire to hear another man's voice in that time. If you can spend time with the Akim, spend time with the Akim now. And it's a beautiful thing for brothers to dwell in unity as well, to let brotherly love continue. Right, and that just came in my spirit, you know, so hopefully this was edifying to Lord's elect. So with that, I want to give all praises, all honor and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Alright, double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to all you brothers on the four corners of the earth. You know, that teaching is good gospel, in all sincerity and in all truth. Alright, shalom. This is Brother Aram here signing out saying shalom to the elect. And stay strong, brothers, because you know we're heading into some serious times. You know, we have to stay strong and keep the faith. Stay strong. Shalom.